All right. Well, anyway, getting back to the whole pinball thing.
Yes.
That's you got a little over a month to get this together, and obviously, probably guessing from the progress that Chris has brought me up to date, I would say that you're probably about 85% there.
Yeah, I mean, Chris almost died, and I almost got divorced over the whole thing.
Really?
So that's how hard we're working.
Well, see, Ed, I'm going to be very blunt with you here. I asked Chris how much of a pain in the ass your wife was going to be over this whole thing, because and I don't know your wife, so I'm not making a disparaging remark about her. I'm just talking about women in general. When it comes to stuff like this that guys are, very into, be it your hobby or be it a project or something that you're passionate about, they always got to piss on that. And I don't know why. I don't know why they always got to rain on the parade or always have to be the big downer when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I've been doing the CMS almost 20 years now. Chris has been a very integral part of this for the last 12 years at least. And it broke up his marriage, and I've had numerous long-term relationships that have gone their separate ways because the show always prevails.
Well, this is just something I was fooling around with for the past 10 years or whatever, how long we've been married. But essentially, at this point, as Chris has said, I can't remove myself from it because it's been so close to me. But it is a business now. It's a real thing.
Sure, it is.
There's a lot of other people involved, and even the mother-in-law kind of said the other night, wow, I didn't realize it was such a big thing. You got a band, you got catering, you got tickets being sold, and Jody said, well, yes, it is a real business. So she gets it, but she would just like me around a little bit more.
Yeah, I get it, Ed, and here's a story about the classic metal show and where my family is concerned. I've been doing, like I told you, we're coming up on 20 years of doing the show. And, what we do is it could be distasteful for people who are who are elderly or don't get where we're coming from, or maybe
are retarded
or very conservative in their viewpoint. But
people of color.
Well. Well, I got to tell you about
furries or whatever happened last week.
Yeah, furries. But 2 years ago, my dad, who God bless him, he just turned 86, and he's in very good health still. And he's had two wives. Both of his wives have passed away. One being my mother, and one of his second wife, she passed away a few years ago. But anyway, long story short. The guy has lived a long life, still in good shape, whatever, never approved of my quote-unquote interest in doing these kind of things, be it rock and roll, subversive radio, whatnot. It just does not fly.
That's one word for it, subversive.
Well, I'm trying to put it in context here.
Asshole radio.
And about 2 years ago, he lives over near Chris. He lives over in the Akron area. Well, he came to my sister's house, which is about an hour from Chicago, for Thanksgiving. And I hadn't seen him, I don't know, about a year. It'd been almost a year, but he had come for Thanksgiving. It's the first time the family had gotten together because we're all spread out all over the place. But everybody gathered at my oldest sister's, and I went over to say hello to him, and he says to me, you know what? I Googled your name the other day. And he says to me, do you know how famous you are?
Famous.
That's what he said. And I just looked at him like, what? He says, that show you do. He said, that's a pretty big deal, isn't it? I said, well, I guess it depends on how you classify a big deal. He says, your name and that show is all over the place. He says, I would have never guessed.
So what did he think? That you were just talking to me and I was talking to you?
Well, I think, and I'm going to go back to what I was saying to Ed about women and their viewpoint and what Ed just said about, wow, this is a real business.
Right.
His attitude was, wow, that's like a real thing. It's just like you guys are really doing something and making noise out there, more or less, or you're known, or you've actually created something that people know or whatever. And getting back to my point with Ed, it's just like, yeah, I'm doing something here regardless of your viewpoint of it. To me, it's important, and whether it is successful on a worldwide level or local level or whatever,
right,
it's something I'm passionate about. So just leave me the fuck alone and let me do it.
Well, she was pretty distressed and upset with me, and she Facebooked messaged Chris, so he straightened her out. I think.
I don't know how it's become, and you know this, Neely, more than
Dr.
anybody.
Chris.
Somehow I've become the master of all relationships. The guy that is divorced and fucking couldn't be happier that his fucking wife is not part of his life anymore.
Sure.
I'm the one that everybody calls to fix their shit.
Right.
I mean, just to give you the quick, it's not a big deal, but basically everything is all new at this point. We have a new neighborhood, new friends, new family life for her, because we essentially lived on an island. So now she has a whole bunch of friends in the neighborhood. Kids can get to play with other kids. And I am doing this, but obviously when we're building it, it takes a shitload of time that I'm not going to be there.
And the piece that Ed's not telling you, Neely, he bought and moved into the house literally the same week that we started moving the games in here.
Right.
So it was like the combination of no time to do anything ever, including helping move.
I moved into Party Neighborhood Central because there's a fucking dinner party every night of the week. Can you be here? I'm like, no, can I go to work? I mean, I got something to open, etc. But, anyway, I understand what you're saying, but she gets it, and as long as I'm still participating in her life, that's fine.
As long as you're participating in her life.
How's that? It's all business. No, it's fine. It's fine. But you're right. I mean, you do build something, and I knew how big this thing is for you guys,
sure.
The show, because somebody was surprised. Maybe it was John. Somebody else was at the Steel Panther show, but Chris got recognized and got his picture taken here in Pittsburgh, of all places.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, a couple times at the Priest show, at the Judas Priest Steel Panther show. Yeah, two different people came up and grabbed me and were like, "Can we take a picture with you?"
Sure.
It's like, okay.
We weren't even in Cleveland.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chris and I attended a Dawkins show at the House of Blues in Cleveland a couple years ago, and Chris can tell you, while I was there, several people grabbed me. Can I get a picture with you?
Yeah.
It's just like, really? It's like, what do you want to dude, let me get a picture with you. It's just like weird. Okay. Sure. Let's take a picture.
Well, dude, when Ed and I and our whole crew was at Steel Panther in Cleveland, some girl came up to me and goes, she was all scared, and she goes, "Fuck you, pal, hand job." And she was afraid that I was either going to be the wrong person or was going to get mad or whatever. And I was just like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Right.
And then she wanted to take a picture, and her boyfriend wanted to take a picture, and her boyfriend couldn't wait to recite every goddamn segment we'd ever done on the show in history.
Right.
He literally was like, "I remember that RH medal and that fucking kid." I was like, Jesus God, that's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, really. Well, anyway.
It's kind of strange. I was just going to say it's kind of strange. I just wondered if my wife was at the end of her rope, or why all of a sudden she'd reach out to Chris, because I didn't know he was the relationship fixer, or
right?
Dr. Phil or Dr. Chris, whatever.
Right.
I'm the guru. Look, my job is to handle the business with this, and sometimes the business includes the wives.
Have you ever known him to be such a whiz with relationships?
No.
I didn't. Not that I've known you.
He watched me be terrible in my own.
Yeah, well, because of relationships,
he learned a lot.
Chris left the show for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
He just, up and abandoned the show one Sunday. He's just like, "I'm done. I'm through. I can't deal with this anymore. I got to go."
Yeah, because I couldn't deal with her bullshit. And yet that somehow didn't go away when those 2 years were there.
Right.
That bullshit did not stop.
So Chris says you're a big Keel fan, so we're sitting here right where Keel will be playing. That'll be exciting.
Well, I've known Ron for probably 12, 13 years maybe. And
Question. Did you know his music before then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've played his
that
music.
applies to at least one person on this show.
Ed was stunned that I didn't know Ron's music until like 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, no, I played Keel way back in the 80s, so.
I mean, I have the EP that I saved from when I sold all my records is it's some maxi single, but I had it signed at the record store in Oakland here outside of Pittsburgh when I was 16 by the whole band. They were playing some 500-seat place or whatever, and I said, I've known them since I was 16.
Right.
Chris said, I heard about them 5 years ago.
I've known about them since I was 41.
Yeah.
See? And he's your best friend.
Well, I coached him. That's what I do now.
Yeah, again, I several of the people that I was involved with, since Chris came on board, he's, schmoozed his way into being best buds with some of these guys. And, I hooked him up with the gig to be the webmaster for the Dockin website. Yep. And, I hooked him up with Ron Keel and, things like that. It's just, which is fine. And, Ron's been a good dude, man. He is one of the nicest people you ever know.
Oh, yeah.
I look forward to it.
Ron is really, really good. And it would be impossible to get him to say a bad word. That's I was saying today, if we asked him about Gene Simmons or something, and even if he hates Gene Simmons, his answer would be like, I learned a lot of good lessons from Gene, and he taught me about the bit. He would never say, "Man, that guy's a fucking greedy cunt." He would never say that, ever.
Yeah, but the guy that hooked me up with Ron Keel with Jamie St. James of Black and Blue.
Right.
He was the one who introduced me to Ron.
Tell the story, dude, because I was trying to tell it today, but I didn't remember it exactly. Tell the story about Ron doing the interview with you from the stage of a show.
Yeah.
Sounds neat.
Well, let me see. This was back, I think it was about 2002. Ron was involved with a project he was doing called Iron Horse. And this came about after I had met him. And when the project came out, the Iron Horse CD came out, everybody was trying to get some promotion, and I was doing the classic metal show. And he called me and said, "Hey, I got this thing that I'm doing." And he was living in Columbus, Ohio at the time. And he was working with some local musicians and whatnot. And, of course, I was glad to have him on. Well, he was doing a show in Nashville, a live show. And I wanted to promote the Iron Horse CD. And so I arranged a time to have him call. Well, he was in the middle of doing a show in Nashville from the stage. And I have this photo on my wall over here where he's actually conducting the interview with me from the stage. So he's got his cell phone on speaker, and he's got it held up to the stage mic. And so people in the audience can hear me asking him questions. And then, of course, he's answering me, and the people listening to me on the radio, because I was on FM radio at the time, they heard him. So, he did the whole interview. I think it was like 20 minutes worth from the stage in the middle of an Iron Horse show in Nashville.
That's so good. Probably never been done since.
Yeah. So I have a picture. Our good friend, what's his name? Shit.
Who? Randy?
No, Randy's friend.
Oh, I know who you're talking about too. God damn it.
Well, regardless.
That guy.
Yeah, he was Chris Wicks.
Chris Wicks, yeah.
Chris Wicks was at the show, and he took a photo of Ron talking on the cell phone through the mic during the interview, and then he blew it up to an 8x10 and gave it to me. And Ron
arrow said Neeley on the phone.
Well, Ron signed it, and he signed it, "Thanks for the interview" or something, and I got it framed, and it's up on my wall here in the studio.
Was it one of your better interviews?
It was cool, but it wasn't like I didn't know the guy before, but it was interesting that he was doing this from the stage, And ask Chris. Chris has been here to my studio 3 or 4 times already, and this place is. I made this place for, you know, if I lived in a better location to where it would be easier access, this would be a pretty rocking place to have some live guests.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not this fucking Studio C nightmare that we have over here. That's for damn sure.
You'll have to improve this a little bit since you'll be here a lot.
Yeah, this is going to definitely need some touch-ups. But no, your studio is better than the studio that I was in when I was on CBS on 92.3.
Right.
And that's not even a bullshit thing to stroke Neely's dick. That's fucking the truth, man. That studio is sickly good. Well, I mean, and you don't have to give real numbers, but you got 10 grand invested.
Oh, easily.
There,
yeah, it's easily 10 grand. You know,
the desk itself was probably a couple grand.
Yeah, you know, I got the whole effects rack and the mixing boards and the monitors and the computers and all that kind of stuff. And then you know, the walls are all decked out here, kind of like a Hard Rock Cafe sort of. You know, I got a lot of posters that are signed and autographed photos and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, a lot of memorabilia that I collected over the last, 25 years.
It's the Radio Pimp Palace.
It is, pretty much.
Well, I look forward to drinking with Ron. Can he put a few back or what?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't know if Ron even drinks, to be honest with you. I really don't know that.
Well, I've been told yes, and I've been told he will be.
Oh, okay. All right.
A few drinks with him, and I want to kick Billy's ass at Mr. Do.
Sure. See, Chris brought that up to me, and even I, as a 80s gamer, I was not familiar with Mr. Do, and Chris explained to me that it was a Dig Dug knockoff.
Yeah, it was pretty popular for that company. They made it as a conversion kit, so whenever the arcades were kind of flailing a little bit, suffering, whatever, it was a kit you could slap into any old cabinet, and it helped out business, and it was popular for sure. They made 2 or 3 sequels to it, but Billy Morris is the world's biggest Mr. Do fan apparently, and he thinks he could beat anybody. But we'll see.
Well, that'll be cool because Chris has asked me that when we come there to broadcast from the Hall of Fame on that Saturday night, May 23rd, tickets available, $50. He asked that I have some wireless mics, so maybe we could have an Ed Billy Morris Mr. Do-off.
Yeah, you can do color and play-by-play. And Chris can do, yeah.
There goes Billy, losing.
A Mr. Do-off.
I want to see how that'll sound. It's pretty loud in here, so we'll see. I mean, ambient sound of an arcade is one thing, but you'll have to see.
Well, we'll see how that works out. But I'm looking forward to coming down May 23rd, and tickets available.
Yes.
And give the website, Chris.
CoinOp HOF CoinOpHOF.com.
All right.
I said if Chris is going to be here on a regular basis, and I'll certainly intrude on the show as much as I can.
Sure.
Because I still talk music too.
Well, we got to get better mics though over there because the mics you got,
a one-time thing.
The mics you got over there tonight kind of blow.
My mic sounds good.
Your mic's fine. The one Ed's on sounds like it's just.
I didn't know Chris stuck it up his ass before he brought it.
Well, he literally used to beat on it.
I used to take that thing and just beat it on the desk until it would stop fucking fuzzing out.
He said he wasn't a tech guy.
I'm not a tech guy. I was telling him, Neely, about how disgusted you are every time you come to my place and you just see the fucking spaghetti wire.
Oh, yeah. Whenever you get here, I want you to fix the office with the computer wires and all that shit. So.
Yeah, his office, dude, it's funny because he's like a clean freak like you are as far as his office, but we were putting a computer together today, and
I said, I hate this shit.
Throwing shit together. I was like, man, if Neely sees this, he'll fucking pull out the box and he'll have the ties all ready and get this shit in order.
Right.
All right, that's your task when you show up.
All right, well, there you go. All right, man. Well, we're gonna jump. We got Anthony Esposito waiting in the wings, and we'll come back if you're gonna hang out, Ed.
Yeah, he's hanging out.
Yeah, I'll be here for a while.
Okay, cool.
Thin
all right.
mic and all.
Nice. Well, Anthony Esposito, formerly of Lynch Mob, he also played with Ace Frehley as well as some other people. I guess it was announced this week that he joined Jakey Lee in his Red Dragon Cartel, and his guy, what's his name? Joel Sosa?
Yeah, Joel, yeah.
Yeah, Joel Sosa. And how do you know Joel, Chris?
He Facebooked me at some point, and we did that setup with that Pisser band.
Yeah, Pisser with
Frank from Guns N' Roses.
Frank Farrar, and of course we had Anthony on then. That was last year.
Sure. But Joel and I have since become kind of friends, and we talk fairly often on Facebook and whatnot. So when he has something good, he runs it our way.
Nice. All right. Well, he threw the offer for us to have Anthony on the show, and being that I'm a big Lynch Mob fan, and sure. I like Anthony as a person, I thought, okay, we'll definitely have him on. So we're going to get a hold of Anthony and talk to him and find out what's going on. But that's basically what he's going to talk about, I guess, is that he's part of Red Dragon Cartel now.
So, John Rufo, turn off your computer and go and have a couple more drinks without listening.
Exactly. All right. Well, as you know, Anthony Esposito kind of splashed onto the scene back in the early 90s with George Lynch and the Lynch Mob. So I'm going to play something from the Wicked Sensation release.
All right.
And this is Hell Child.
Cool.
So it's Lynch Mob exclusively here
on your classic metal show.